The advice we give to cut a few calories is a complete failure.
If you compare a population of people who never dieted to a population of people who diet, the dieters end up weighing significantly more than the non-dieters 5 or 10 years later. So we need to find new solutions.
When someone does fasting, it's very different than when someone simply cuts calories.
So when you fast, you can look at studies and you'll see that the basal metabolic rate does not go down nearly as much as the calorie restriction.
There's always a sweet spot for everything. If you fast for too long, we'll say if you go out more than, say, even 10 days, your metabolism will slow. And that's what happens to people if they try to cut calories for a very long period of time. Their metabolism slows, and when you start refeeding, you will regain the weight and regain it very quickly.
There's a difference in fat. The fat that you carry around the waist is much more dangerous for you. This study was just published last year. So if you look at truncal fat mass, caloric restriction versus alternate daily fasting, the fasting was 6 times better at getting rid of the dangerous fat.
My plan is to do a 7-day fast. In 9 days, I've lost 18 pounds.
I went 7 days and I've lost 20 pounds.
I thought, no way could I go this far and not be hungry.
Lots of people have noticed the past couple days how thin that I look already.
And I'm on day 21 of my 21-day fast, and I've lost 33 pounds.
Your mind is more clear.
You're actually going to be more alert, you're going to have more energy and more time.
We've been skiing for 3 hours, and I haven't eaten for 6 days. I feel plenty energized. Woohoo! I feel like I'm almost on vacation by not eating.
The ancient Greek mathematician Pythagoras, in fact, he required his students to fast before they came into the classroom. Otherwise, he thought they wouldn't be smart enough to figure out what he was doing.
So my mind feels as good as it's ever felt.
When you look at fasting, it's going to give you the ability to do all those things at a higher level than you've ever done them before.
A lot of people ask me, how do you stay so fit at 44 years old? And I quite simply look them in the eye and I say, fast before fitness is the ticket.
Activating your body, the sympathetic nervous system, noradrenaline, and growth hormone all go up during a fast. You actually can work out harder than you've ever done.
I've always worked out on an empty stomach, in a fasted state.
The challenges about fasting is that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there are several different types.
You know, whether you're talking about an overnight fast, or you're talking about a 24-hour fast, or you're talking about 5-day or 10-day or 20-day, people and journalists and everybody likes to use the same word, right? And this is very confusing because each turns on a completely different process.
This is happening now in practices like mine all over the country and in the world. People learning, and hopefully we'll all communicate. And one of the beauties of a film like this is that it will bring attention to the whole concept of fasting, because so many people know nothing about it.
For the last 50 years, we've told people, eat 6 meals a day, eat the minute that you get up, within 30 minutes of getting up, and make sure you eat a bedtime snack so you don't get hungry. The problem is when you start eating the minute you get up and don't stop eating until the minute you go to bed. You're constantly telling your body to store food energy, right? And you can only either store it or burn it, right? You can't do both at once.
And even now, many personal trainers and nutritionists try to eat something in every 2 to 3 hours you are awake. And if we are awake for 18 hours, then that's a long period of eating.
The whole problem is eating all the time. So the very word itself, breakfast, is the meal that breaks your fast. And it's actually a very interesting word because what it means is that fasting is a part of everyday life. It's something you need to do every single day because it's the flip side of eating. It's just the B side of eating. There's nothing scary about fasting. So if you fast for 12 hours and eat for 12 hours, or eat for 10 hours and fast for 14 hours, for example, you'll stay in balance. And guess what? That's what they did in 1960s America. You can look back at surveys, and the average number of meals, 1977, is 3 meals a day, right? So I grew up in the 1970s. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Nothing else. Snacks? No. Guess what? They're eating white bread, there's no whole wheat pastas, right? They're eating Oreo cookies, they're eating ice cream, but there's very little obesity. Now you go to 2005, and the survey, the NHANES survey, which is a large American survey of a lot of things, including dietary habits, says that we're eating 6 times a day. So, again, look at my son's schedule. Breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, after-school snack, dinner. Oh, hey, he's playing soccer. There's snack between the halves of soccer. 6 times a day, every single day. So he's giving his body instructions to store fat every minute of that waking day. And then we wonder, why is he gaining weight? Well, it's no mystery. You're eating all the time.
We would never even consider starting to cook until 7:30, and we'd usually eat around 8.
We might get home and eat at 8 or 9 o'clock and have a big meal at 8 or 9 o'clock.
And it was a grazing after dinner that was going on.
So it's the length of time that you let your body kind of burn that food that you've taken. That's basically it. You're giving your body time to digest it.
If you have them continue their same type of food intake and about the same number of calories, but you shrink that eating time down, they will lose weight. And they'll feel satisfied, and they won't feel miserable because we didn't put them on a 1,600 calorie diet.
I've not necessarily eaten well. I've been overweight, sometimes up to 200 pounds.
Like everybody else, I've gained a pound or 2 a year since I was 30.
About 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. My A1C was over 14. And I had no idea that it was out of control the way that it was. I knew that I'd probably had it based on the symptoms. So I just tried to control it with diet, medication, but in the end, it just wasn't working for me, what I was doing. So I decided it was time to switch doctors, got a recommendation to Dr. Julie, and she rocked my world.
First came upon that study, Dr. Panda's study. It was very easy to understand. It's so elegantly done that someone who's not in high-level research could understand this paper.
Big, gnarly study with a lot of detail, tons of charts and graphs, big words. I'm back and forth with Wikipedia. Took like 4 hours to get through that study.
They embrace the information because it's something new, and it is a void in most people's knowledge base in terms of nutrition and diet. And it does sort of dispel this myth that you need to eat before bedtime or you need to have protein before bedtime to build muscle mass.
So on the flight back to the West Coast, I read it again for 4 hours. It was on that flight that I said, I gotta try this.
So the simple experiment that we did was we took genetically identical set of mice.
One group was eating ad libitum, so they got to eat their food throughout the day whenever they wanted to eat it. And both these groups of rats are on a super size me diet, like that guy from that movie.
I started with a high-fat diet because there are 11,000 research papers published so far where animals or humans are given this fatty food, and this fatty food causes different diseases, starting from diabetes, obesity, liver damage, cancer, and IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, etc.
The lean mouse, without a doubt, became obese, gained weight. The lean mouse that was on the time-restricted regime actually stayed lean, and that's really what caught my attention.
So even though they eat the same amount of calories, at the end, the time-restricted feeding mice are lean compared to the ad-lib fed mice.
And they could stay progressively fitter, and all they had to do was change when they eat, not what they eat.
Your body needs a daily fasting period, and that eating erratically and kind of eating all over the day takes away from our body's natural rhythms to say this is when we eat, this is when we rest, and it's hitting a manual override button.
We work with the circadian rhythm. Our bodies are on a clock, basically, which is aligned with the 24-hour rotation of the Earth.
The circadian rhythm in turning on and off of more than 10,000 genes is the largest regulatory network that we know that exists in humans.
Circadian rhythms in the liver, the pancreas, and the fat cells get tremendously disrupted when you eat late at night or when you eat for more than 12 hours during the day.
So if the liver clock tracks when we eat, then forget about light dark. What we have to be more careful about is when we eat and when we fast.
And we have to stay in beat with Earth in order to be healthy. So we really should stop eating by 7 p.m. at the latest because our pancreas goes to sleep.
Just before you wake up, somewhere around 4 a.m., growth hormone, adrenaline, and so on all get pumped up. You're basically activating yourself for the day. So for all those people who say, oh, you have to get up and eat because you're not going to have energy, like your body has already prepared you for everything you're going to do. You don't need to do it again.
And so during the day, we need to be able to go out and hunt and get our food and do all those kinds of good things. So we need access to energy. We need to be able to metabolize energy quickly. And we need to be able to make sugar as quickly as possible. And we also need to be able to oxidize fats for energy.
So at night, we can't absorb the fat and the salt and the sugar. Your body just takes it and shoves it right into a fat store.
In the evening, once we get ready for bed, our body switches to another mode, and the circadian rhythms for processing energy go down, and the circadian rhythms that help with the repair of the body, finding cancer cells, renewing all of the bodily systems kick in, and those are the strongest during the night. Immune system function, etc. If you eat during the night, you disrupt all of those mechanisms, and so not only are you predisposing yourself to diabetes and obesity and hypertension, but you're also predisposing yourself to a pro-inflammatory condition throughout the body, which makes it easier for cancer to take hold.
If you're trying to repair a highway, you have to stop the traffic. So similarly, our body cannot repair itself if we continue to eat.
The body makes less insulin, so for the same sugar load that you would give yourself during the day that would not cause your blood sugar to rise significantly, that same sugar load after about 7 or 8 o'clock at night will cause a significant rise in your blood sugar, mimicking the effects of diabetes.
It was a study that came out in a neurology journal that found if you were giving artificial nutrition in the hospital, that patients did better if you didn't give it around the clock. They gave the nutrition in a shortened time frame. They're connecting the person back to the day cycle. They have a better outcome.